Chairs No Waiting, episode number 739, Gomer Pyle, U.S.M.C. Two Chairs No Waiting is brought to you by the folks over at WeaversDepartmentStore.com. Drop by over at Weavers and check out some of the amazing Mayberry-related items they have over there. And talking related, Gomer says, hey, it's a book. That's right, you can pick up a great book about the Gomer Pyle, U.S.M.C. Go over there and check it out while you're at Weavers. And while you're there, you might want to pick up a box set of all 5 seasons of Gomer Pyles. You can also pick up individual seasons. Head over to WeaversDepartmentStore.com and check them out. Two Chairs No Waiting is also brought to you by donations from listeners just like you. The executive producer of episode number 739 is Marty Davis, and the Patreon patron of the week is Joyce Peters. Hello, everybody. I'm Alan U.S.M., your host for Two Chairs No Waiting. It's great to be back in Mayberry. I know you guys had episodes the last couple of weeks, but I was out of town. I've been gone, so you got to listen to some reruns from other episodes, and I hope you enjoyed them. I actually enjoyed them because it had been a long time since I had heard them, and it made me smile and laugh. It's almost like those are lost episodes of the Andy Griffith Show, and I, for one, if you didn't enjoy them, I'm sorry, but I really enjoyed them. They were fun for me to go back and reminisce and remember that. So this week, this is the Jim Nabors' birthday week. So he was born June 12th, 1930. So that made me start thinking, hey, I've never really done many episodes about Gomer Pyle, U.S.M.C. I've talked about it before, and we've done some episodes about Jim Nabors, but I thought this would be a good opportunity to do that. So Gomer Pyle, U.S.M.C. originally aired on CBS television network, but from September the 25th, 1964 until May the 2nd, 1969. And the series, as you probably know, as fans of the Andy Griffith Show, was a spin-off of the Andy Griffith Show. And it was aired originally, or the spinoff was the pilot, I guess, for it was the 4th season episode, the finale of the Andy Griffith Show. Well, it was the last episode of the 4th season, and it aired on that episode. So definitely something you want to see. It was May 18th, 1964 when it aired. So if you haven't ever seen that, it basically, Andy takes Gomer to the Marine Corps. He joins the Marines with Sergeant Carter. Great episode. But then, of course, they went right into Gomer Pyle, U.S.M.C. So that's what I wanted to talk about tonight. We'll do that, and we'll do some trivia. I've got trivia for us. I believe I've got at least... Yeah, I've got 5 questions that I think you're going to enjoy. All right, so let's head into this. And I've got, if you're watching the video version, I got some pictures and stuff you can see of Jim Nabors from where we've been. So as I said, Gomer Pyle, U.S.M.C. Was aired from 1964 to 1969, spinoff of the Andy Griffith Show. It ran for a total of 150 half-hour episodes and 5 seasons. The first season was in black and white, and then the rest of the seasons, the other 4, are in color. So if you're ever watching them, that's when the transition from black and white to color kind of happened on a lot of series and seasons. So just like the Andy Griffith Show, Gomer Pyle, U.S.M.C. was a major ratings hit. It was well received by everybody. It was never lower in the Nielsen ratings. If you guys know what the Nielsen ratings are, those are the ratings you get from a television series. The Nielsen company, or Nielsen, finds out what people are watching, and so it was never rated lower than 10th for a season. It was the year it ended, Gomer Pyle, U.S.M.C. It was the 2nd highest rated series in the United States. That's right, 2nd highest. I thought that was pretty cool. It's enjoyed popularity over the years. It continues in reruns, and it has DVDs like I mentioned earlier at Weavers. The series was actually created by Aaron Rubin. Now, Aaron Rubin, he also produced and did things with the Andy Griffith Show, right? He produced the show with Sheldon Leonard and Ronald Jacobs. Now, Ronald Jacobs, that would be Danny Thomas's brother, right? So it was filmed and set in California. So that's where it was supposed to be. And of course, Jim Nabors was the star as Gomer Pyle, a naive but good-natured gas station attendant from the town of Mayberry, North Carolina, who enlisted in the United States Marine Corps. And Frank Sutton played Sergeant Carter, and he was the gunnery sergeant that trained him. And Ronnie Shell, who's going to be with us in just a few weeks at Mayberry Comes to Scottsburg. So you can go check out that website. We'll talk about that hopefully at the end of this if I can remember. But go check out Mayberry Comes to Scottsburg.com for all the information about that. But we'll talk about it in a little bit. But Ronnie Shell's going to be there. He plays Gomer's friend, Duke Slater. And there's a lot of other characters like that. One I'll mention is Alan Melvin, who we saw, of course, on the Andy Griffith Show, is trying to beat up Barney and Howard Sprague. But, he was on a bunch of different characters. He was Sam the Butcher on the Brady Bunch. He had a recurring role of Gunnery Sergeant Carter's rival. He was Staff Sergeant Charlie Hacker, who Sergeant Carter had a big rivalry with. So, Everett Greenbaum and Jim Fritzl, who were writers from the Andy Griffith Show, are credited with creating the character of Gomer Pyle. The character was based on an incompetent gas station attendant who Greenbaum met, and it was named after Gomer Cool, a writer, and Denver Pyle from the Andy Griffith Show and Dukes of Hazzard. So that's where the names came from. So Gomer Cool was a writer, and Denver Pyle, the actor from the Andy Griffith Show, that's where they got the name Gomer and Pyle. There you go. I didn't know that. I don't know if you did, but I thought that was pretty cool. Jim Nabors obviously was cast to play Gomer, and he had been performing in Santa Monica nightclub, The Horn, when Andy Griffith discovered him and saw him there, right? Though it originally the whole idea was for him to appear one time in only one episode of the Andy Griffith Show. Gomer Pyle proved to be so popular after appearing in season 3 and 4 that Nabors was given his own spin-off series produced by Aaron Rubin. The pilot episode of Gomer Pyle was filmed in 1963 as part of the Andy Griffith Show, but it didn't air until 1964. So if you ever look at the episode's filmed orders of the Andy Griffith Show, you'll notice that the Gomer Pyle episode is earlier in the season, and he leaves and joins the Marine, but then he's back in Mayberry. Well, that's because it was not aired in that order. The aired order always has that episode at the end of that season, which was the 4th season of the Andy Griffith Show, but it was actually filmed back toward the middle of season 4. So if you've ever been confused by watching them on television, because I often show them in filmed order rather than aired order. I hope that makes sense to you. So in the 1960s, we saw a return to a more mundane sensibilities of comedy, at least according to this write-up, due to viewers' wish for television program to be, quote, cultural antidepressants. Which I don't know if that's true, but I can tell you this, watching the Andy Griffith Show, I have used it for that for years, to calm me down, relax me. So if that was the goal of Gomer Pyle and the Andy Griffith Show, if that really was what they were trying to do, they should do that again, because it worked. So that was used as a cultural antidepressant. That's what it says. Thus, fantasy and royal-oriented comedies gained a lot of popularity and dominated the Nielsen ratings. So like, the other comedies of that time period, Gomer Pyle was a deep escapist show. So it was a way to forget your troubles and go out there and just enjoy yourself. It avoided political commentary and offered viewers a distraction from all the social changes in the 60s. Oh my gosh, we still need this. That's why we are still watching the Andy Griffith Show and Gomer Pyle and shows like that. That's why we're doing this. Oh my gosh. Could they make some new shows like that? That would be awesome, wouldn't it? Anyway, despite being a military-themed show and airing during the peak of the Vietnam War, the Gomer Pyle U.S.M.C. never discussed the war. Instead, the show was founded on Gomer's innocence and simplicity and Sergeant Carter's frustration and later concern for Gomer's well-being. This compounded with the popularity of rural comedies in the 60s made the show very popular. So Frank Sutton, who played Sergeant Carter, ascribed the show's popularity to its concentration on its two main characters and the plots being built around their respective personalities. I have to agree with that. I think that's the reason Andy Griffith Show is successful and Gomer Pyle, because it's personality driven. It's not joke driven. And I think that really is part of the reason these shows are still being watched. As I said before, the Gomer Pyle U.S.M.C. remained in the top 10 in the Nielsen's ratings throughout its entire run of 5 seasons. And it was in the top 3, but all of the third season is the only one when it was not in the top 3, when CBS had moved it from Friday nights to Wednesday nights, and it dropped down to 10 for some reason. They moved it back in the 4th season back to Fridays, and it went back to number 2 or 3. So I mean, it was for some reason they moved it around, and it just didn't work as well. Now, just to let you know that after the Gomer Pyle show ended, Jim Nabors hosted a variety show called the Jim Nabors Hour. He hosted that from 1969 to 1971, as well as showcasing his singing, which we definitely heard on the Andy Griffith Show, which was a rich baritone voice, which was hard to believe that Gomer Pyle sounded like that, wasn't it? Because he had that golly voice that he then would just turn on and sing. It was always, I remember the first time I ever saw the Impossible Dream that he sings on Gomer Pyle. I couldn't believe it was actually him. Because, I mean, this is what we're used to hearing Gomer.
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
Or this.
Shazam.
And then he can just belt out these songs in this baritone voice. It's like somebody else is doing his singing for him. But it wasn't. The show, the Jim Nabors Hour, included comedy sketches and features that Jim Nabors and his Gomer Pyle co-stars, Frank Sutton and Ronnie Shell, were involved in. Though told that he should not leave Gomer Pyle, Nabors felt that the show would still be exciting and noted that every character he portrayed in his sketches turned out to be Gomer. So that's a little bit about Gomer Pyle. As said, that the show was produced by Aaron Rubin, Andy Griffith producer Sheldon Leonard, in partnership with Andy Griffith. So there was a lot of stuff like that. There were writers from the Andy Griffith Show that actually wrote Gomer Pyle episodes, like Everett Greenbaum and Jim Fritzell. There was just so many connections between the two shows. The theme song for Gomer Pyle was composed by Earl Hagen, who also composed the theme song for the Andy Griffith Show, or the theme music for the Andy Griffith Show, the Dick Van Dyke Show, That Girl, so many things, but we're tied to the Andy Griffith Show here, obviously. Gomer Pyle was filmed at Camp Pendleton, which was in Desilu Studios, and 40 Acres Backlot, where the Andy Griffith Show is filmed. That's where it was. So I didn't know this. Aaron Rubin preferred the use of a multi-camera setup for comedy shows, But Gomer Pyle used a single camera setup like the Andy Griffith Show did, mainly because much of the show was shot outdoors. So that was one of the reasons that it was done like that. The Marines felt that the show would be good for its branch, for its image. So Gomer Pyle was given total cooperation, meaning that the show was allowed unlimited access to military equipment. So it was really easy for them to get in there. The vehicles, the cars and stuff used on the show were provided by Chrysler, as opposed to the Andy Griffith Show where the vehicles were from Ford. But there were Jeeps on Gomer Pyle. And this, nowadays you wouldn't think about this, but those weren't Chrysler at the time. The brand for Jeep was actually AMC, and it didn't become a part of Chrysler until 1987. So during Gomer Pyle, you had Chryslers and Jeeps, which was the AMC, American Motors vehicles, Jeeps. So Jim Nabors and Frank Sutton were the only actors credited in every episode. However, Frank Sutton did not appear in every episode, but he was still credited. Ronnie Shell, who played Duke Slater and is going to be at Mayberry Comes to Scottsburg. Hope you guys can come. This is, by the way, being recorded in 2023. He left the show after the third season to go off and be a big star. And he talks about it in his presentations, to go off and be a big star of his own show called Good Morning World, and exciting. And then in the fifth season, he was Duke Slater again. That's the way he says it. So he came back. But he did get a promotion by leaving and coming back. He was Corporal Duke Slater after graduating from non-commissioned officer training. So he came back as an officer. So that was pretty cool. Let's see. So Andy Griffith, Francis Bobbier, Ron Howard, and George Lindsay all made guest appearances in the series, reprising their roles from the Andy Griffith Show. Denver Pyle and Alan Melvin, who both had roles on the Andy Griffith Show, appeared on Gomer Pyle, but they weren't reprising their Andy Griffith Show roles. Denver Pyle, who had played Briscoe Darling in 6 episodes on the Andy Griffith Show, he played a tomato farmer, Titus Purcell, in the Gomer Pyle episode called The Price of Tomatoes. And Alan Melvin, who played Clarence Doc Malloy and other antagonists on the Andy Griffith Show, he played Sergeant Carter's rival that I mentioned before, Staff Sergeant Hacker, for 4 seasons. So Jim Nabors also, as we go along here, he carried the Gomer Pyle character to fellow series The Lucy Show, in which he made a cameo appearance in 1966 episode. Never seen that. That would be pretty cool to see. Jim Nabors always said he had a hard time watching the show's opening credits, as many of the Marines he filmed with as they were marching there, training, they were later killed in Vietnam. And so he always said that affected him every time he watched that. So anyway, Gomer Pyle, a great show. If you haven't watched it, I encourage you to watch it. I believe it's coming on MeTV and several other networks like that. You can get DVDs from Weavers, and I'm not sure if that's on Pluto.tv or not, but definitely go and check it out if it was. As I mentioned, it was rated in the top 10 all 5 seasons. And the only real issue, I think, is that they kept moving it around, because they moved it from a Friday night show to a Wednesday night show. So the first 2 seasons, it was at Friday, and they still moved it around a little bit. It went from Friday at 9 o'clock to Friday at 9. It went from 9:30 on Fridays to 9 o'clock on Fridays in the second season. Then for some reason, it jumped over on Wednesday nights at 9:30 and dropped to number 10 in the ratings. They moved it back to Fridays at 8:30, and it was number 3 and then number 2 in the 4th and 5th seasons, respectively. Folks, there's just, it's a great show. It's a lot of fun. I know Gomer is hard not to get frustrated with. I empathize often with Sergeant Carter. I love Gomer, such a nice guy. He was so always thought the best of everybody. And it's just something I think we could all really love to enjoy. And wow, he was just, he was just great. Even if he's trying to arrest people. This is the riot. This is the riot. This is the riot. Or just telling people, wishing them well.
Congratulations, congratulations, congratulations.
So go and check out Gomer Pyle, U.S.M.C. And I think you'll enjoy it.
Holy Shazam.
So thank you very much, Gomer. All right, guys, that is a little bit about Gomer Pyle, U.S.M.C. Hopefully that's kind of giving you some background. If you've never watched it, you know about the Andy Griffith Show. So there we go with Gomer. So let's go and see if we can't do a little trivia this week. So if you're ready, pull out your pencil and paper. Here's our trivia music. There we go. Low. There we go. So we are going to play some trivia. Now, the way we're going to do this is the way I've done it in the last, few weeks, is we got 5 questions. You get 2 points if you can get it right before I give you the multiple choice. And if you have to take the multiple choice, you get 1 point. Okay. But you don't get 3 points if you got it both times. All right. So is everybody ready? We got our folks in our chat room. Are they ready for the trivia? Here we go. Question number 1. Aunt Bee was normally a fantastic cook, but she failed miserably in her attempts to make what treat for her family? All right. Aunt Bee was normally a fantastic cook, but she failed miserably in her attempt to make what treat for her family? All right, so give your answer. I think this one's pretty easy. All right, now I'm going to give you the multiple choice. If you didn't get it from the original question, she failed miserably making it, trying to make treats for her family. Was she trying to make ice cream, fruitcake, cheese biscuits, or homemade pickles? If you don't know this, you've got to go watch the Andy Griffith Show. Come on. You've got to be watching. All right. So the answer is Aunt Bee was normally a fantastic cook, but she failed miserably in her attempts to make what treat for her family? Good old homemade pickles. That's right. Because these ain't good old homemade. These ain't good old store-bought pickles. These are bad old homemade pickles. That's right. Spirit Walker says in our chat room that pickles is not cooking, it's canning. Well, I guess you're right. Canning them. So, all right. So next up, number 2, Mayberry resident Otis Campbell was best known as what? Mayberry resident Otis Campbell was best known as what? Yeah, well, if you don't know this one, I also think you need to go watch the Andy Griffith Show more. But we just don't say it out like this, usually. All right. So, Mayberry resident Otis Campbell is best known as what? All right, now, time if you don't know, because here I'm coming with the multiple choice. Was he best known as the mayor of Mount Pilot? Was he best known as the town drunk? Or was he best known as the owner of a drugstore? Or was he best known as Opie's best friend? Okay, was he a mayor of Mount Pilot, a town drunk, owner of the drugstore, or Opie's best friend? Have your answer. All right. The answer is, as I said, we don't usually say it out like this, the town drunk. Yeah, he was known best as the town drunk there in Mayberry. All right, number three. Andy and Helen Crump first met when she approached him regarding a problem with Opie's performance in school in what subject? Andy and Helen Crump first met when she approached Andy regarding a problem with Opie's performance at what school subject? All right. Are you ready? So I forgot. I got to give you multiple choice. So give your answer. What subject was she coming to talk to Andy about? Okay. Now here's the multiple choice. So it's only worth 1 point now. Was it art, physical education, history, or arithmetic? Art, physical education, history, or arithmetic. Worth 1 point if you get it at this point. All right. So the answer is Helen and Andy first met when she approached him regarding a problem with Opie's performance in the school subject history. History. That's right. The Mayberry Minutemen were born. All right. Number 4, 2 questions left. 2 questions. You have a chance right now to have what? 2, 4, 6. 6 points. 6, 3, or anywhere in between, or 0. All right. All right. Number 4. What was the name of the often mentioned but never seen Mayberry telephone operator? What was the name of the often mentioned but never seen Mayberry telephone operator? What was her name? You got it? Okay, put your answer down if you think you got it. What was the name of the telephone operator? All right, was it? Now it's worth 1 point if you didn't get it from that. Was it Juanita, Bunny, Romina? It's actually Ramona, but I had to say it Romina. Or Sarah. So was the town operator there in Mayberry, was her name Juanita, Bunny, Ramona, or Sarah? Okay, so everybody's got their answer. The often mentioned but never seen Mayberry telephone operator was Sarah. And she evidently also worked over in Hooterville because she was the one that they talked to over at Drucker's store. Excuse me. All right, final question, number 5. What was the occupation of Mr. McBeebe? What was the occupation of Mr. McBeebe? Mike in our chat room is saying that, talking about Sarah, said, you didn't hear it from me, but she likes to take a dip of snuff now and then. Let's see. All right, what was the occupation of Mr. McBeebe? Do you know? All right, mark it down if you know it. It's worth 2 points. Okay, now, with multiple choice, now it's worth 1 point. What was the occupation of Mr. McBeebe? Was he an auto mechanic, a telephone lineman, a barber, or the pastor of All Souls Church? What was his occupation? A auto mechanic, a telephone lineman, a barber, or the pastor of All Souls Church? All right, so that's worth 1 point if you had to wait on the multiple choice. So get your answer in. He was a lineman. Mr. McBeebe's occupation was a telephone lineman. Remember, we saw him climbing down off the telephone pole. You know, he walked around the trees and everything. So how did you do, guys? How did you do? Hope you enjoyed it. That's the main thing with this whole thing. Whether you take a dip of snuff or whatever you're doing, the main idea is to have fun here and things. So imaginary friend's a good answer, but that's not correct. His main occupation wasn't being an imaginary friend because he was real. He was a real person, with a shiny silver hat and his extra hands and jingles while he walks. Oh, don't tell me you believe in Mr. McBeebe. No, but I believe in Opie. Oh, man. Won't that just make you cry? That clutches you. That just clutches me. So, all right. Well, that's good. So, That is awesome.
I'm fixing to call Cousin Goober. You know what? I don't think he's been listening to that Two Chairs No Waiting podcast. It's real good and real nice. That's all I got to say. Golly.
Well, thank you, Gomer. Thank you. That is very nice of you.
Shazam. That Alan Newsom is so cool. He's got that Two Chairs No Waiting podcast. And if you ain't there, you must be square. Shazam. Golly.
Well, luckily you guys are all here, so y'all aren't square, so that's good. So thanks, Gomer, for those ringing endorsements, and I would love to hear from you. You can give me a call and tell me what you think, like Gomer did. What you think about the podcast, what you want to hear, if you want to hear something different, if there's things I haven't covered in the 700 and some odd episodes I've done. Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. You can give me a call at 888-684-8415. You can email me at floyd@imayberry.com. If you can't remember anything I said, head over to twocairsnowaiting.com. You can find that information in the show notes of every episode. So go and check it out, folks. If you didn't see or listen to the last two episodes, go back and listen because they're like lost episodes of the Andy Griffith Show. Great things to do. It's good to be back. And, wait a minute. I forgot to talk about Mayberry Comes to Scottsburg. So stick around after the music here and I'll keep talking. So, folks, we got a great event coming up at the end of June that I want to encourage you to go and see. It's Mayberry Comes to Scottsburg. That's right, Scottsburg, Indiana. You can go to mayberrycomestoscottsburg.com and get the information. There is even a schedule of events, and it's a big schedule. They have got cast members and everything, lots of special guests coming to this event. So go and check out the website. We've got Ronnie Shell, Rodney Dillard will be playing there. The Dillards will be playing. Dennis Rush, who was Opie's buddy Howie. Karen Knotts will be there along with Dixie Griffith, and they're going to be interviewed by our very own Randy Turner. Oh, what better reason to come? So definitely come. We've also got Dream of Denver, and Bess Muggins herself is coming, Margaret Carey. That plus a bunch of tribute artists and everything just to make this event even more fun. So go and check out the Mayberry Comes to Scottsburg page, Facebook, or not Facebook. Well, there is a Facebook page. You can go there, but just go on the internet and look for, spell it out, Mayberry Comes to Scottsburg. And it's spelled just like you'd think, Scottsburg. You can Google it, I'm sure, and find it. But go and check it out. There is so much going on. The tickets are for sale there on the website. Go ahead and get your tickets so you make sure you're going to get into the events you want to see. I tell you, they have worked so hard to get this put together, and I think it's really going to be a big event. It's going to be not as big as Mayberry Days, but close. I mean, it's probably it is the second biggest Mayberry event of the year, no doubt. And I don't say that to take away from it in any way, but Mayberry Days is just hard to beat. It's been around a long time. So definitely go, if you're in the area, come and see us. I met people when I was on the cruise to Alaska that were from near Scottsburg, and they're coming. So that was, while I was in Alaska, I was advertising for this event. So definitely come out and see it. Folks, there's just so much going on. Go over to imayberry.com to the event calendar, and you can find more information about all the different events that are going on. Be sure to sign up for the newsletter, for the Weavers newsletter, to make sure you get this information sent to you by email and notified that there's new newsletters out there. You get it all there as well. Be looking for that coming in the next week or so, a new Weavers newsletter from weaversdepartmentstore.com. Again, head over to twocairsnowaiting.com and you can find all this kind of information there. Folks, again, love to hear from you, 888-684-8415, or email me at floyd@imayberry.com. Until next week, everybody have a great week, and we'll see you here on Two Chairs. Good night, everybody.